Good morning and welcome to day 28 of my Veganuary experience. Hope you're all very well. I can't believe we're nearly at the end of the month. Seems to have gone really, really quickly. So I've been reflecting on how Veganuary has been for me. And I have to say, on the whole, I think I've really very much enjoyed the experience. And I think I've really started to see some of the benefits that a plant-based diet can bring. Um, I've mentioned this before, but certainly I think that my energy levels are much greater. And in particular, I don't find that I get that bloated feeling when I've had a big meal or have that situation where you're really tired after a meal to the same extent that I probably would have had I had meat in my diet. Um, so, and I thought, well, is that something to do with quantity of food? Is it that we're just not eating as much? It's not that there's no meat there, it's small portions or something like that. And I don't think that it is. As I say, we went out for that meal on Saturday night and we had a lot of food, the really generous portions. And I didn't feel at all bloated. Um, so I think there's something there, definitely. And I know people have said that, yes, because of the way that your body can process plant-based diets far more easily than it can meat-based diets, then you do find that your stomach's just a lot happier, which is great. The other thing is, in terms of, we pretty much regular times. That's because I'm more or less based from home in terms of my work. My wife has a very regular job, so we do tend to have breakfast at the same time. There is a routine, because we live in a small holding. We need to do animals outside and things like that. So we do have a routine in terms of breakfast, and we do have a routine in terms of evening meal. And so those two events tend to be more or less the same time each day. Um, but I have to say that I'm finding that I really know that it's particularly getting to be tea time or supper time, and I do actually feel quite hungry, which I don't think I've had before, and it's not a bad feeling. Sometimes I eat an evening meal and just think, well, actually, I wasn't really ready for this, but I'm just eating it at this time because that's the time we have it at. And actually, I wouldn't say there were hunger pangs. That's when you're really really hungry. It's not like that, but my stomach certainly seems to be signalling that it's processed that last lot of food, and it's now ready for some more. And it's not a bad feeling. It's quite a nice feeling. It's almost like my body saying, right, yep, okay, um, we're ready for something to eat. And so and that also happens in the morning as well. I am getting up in the morning, and I do feel ready for something to eat. That's probably the better phrase. I do actually feel that I'm ready for something to eat. So, and I can't say that I had that previously. So there's definitely something happened there. Um, so I think that something beneficial is definitely happening to me. I think I've been able to handle the issues in terms of what my diet needs to consist of well, and that's been helpful. Being married to a vegan already, so that was easy. And also, I think there is an awful lot of information out there. In fact, there's probably too much information out there, as with all these things. But there's some good sources of information out there. Um, so, and I think there's lots of support as well in terms of people encouraging you and things like that. So, um, I think that it's been a relatively easy experience for me to partake of. Now, I know the people's situations are very different, and again, I think I mentioned this before about it might be wholly different if you were the only vegan in a large family group, and they weren't particularly supportive. I know there's lots of people just think, oh, it's just a passing fad, and it'll go. These people are bananas. We've been eating a meat-based diet for hundreds, if not thousands, of years, and why do you think we need to change anything? Is it that some young people feel that or the parents might think, oh, well, it's just peer pressure. Your friends are doing it. You're just copying them or whatever. I'm sure there's lots and lots of stories there. So it does make me think about what situation other people must be subjected to, and I bet it's quite difficult, really. And I always have to ask myself, well, are there any downsides to it? So are there any things that would suggest to you that actually you just shouldn't do it? So, we can argue the pros and cons of plant-based versus meat-based and all of the variants in between all day long. We can absolutely discuss those all day long. But I suppose ultimately I've got to ask myself, is there anything to lose here? Am I going to harm myself in any way or cause myself long-term problems by having that? And I think that's really, I think probably what I need to ask myself. And I think I'm tending to think that probably there is no harm in it. So if you decide to have a plant-based diet, so what? That's your decision. Are you going to harm yourself? Well, probably not, so long as you take the careful steps to make sure that you're getting a full and balanced diet. But everybody should be doing that anyway. We should all be doing that. That's not just something that applies to people having a plant-based diet. It applies to people having a meat-based diet as well. And whilst I recognise that there are lots of people who have a meat-based diet who do look carefully about what they're eating, there are lots of people who just don't, and they just eat. And eat and eat and eat, and they don't care what they're eating, and they just go, well, it's, we've always eaten bacon butties all day long and things like that, and full English every morning, and all the rest of it, and they just don't think twice about what it is they're doing. They just say, oh, well, it's fine, there's no downside to this, and clearly there will be downsides to not thinking carefully about what you're eating and making sure that you get a balanced diet, 5 a day, and all the rest of it. These are simple but effective messages. 5 a day. How hard's that? And how many people just don't do it? So perhaps it's made me think a bit more about my diet, which I think is a good thing. I do feel healthier. I do feel that my energy levels get up. I do feel that I'm ready for something to eat when I eat it, rather than just eating for eating's sake, because that's what time we always eat at, etc., etc. So over the next couple of days, I am going to be thinking about what to do in February. So I'll tell you a bit more about that as each day goes on. So it is getting awfully close to the end of Veganuary now, but it's still not too late to try it. So please do if you haven't already, and if you have signed up for Veganuary, great. I hope it's been a really great experience for you and it's going well. Okay, thanks very much. See you soon.